I don't know about you, but the sting of the Shula Bowl has still it still hasn't gone away from me, and it still hurts. And now it's time for us to get start have that what coaches will do, that one game at a time mentality, pick ourselves back up, do something that we've been doing pretty well this season as the FAU football team, play at home well to win, and that's what we're going to be doing this weekend. FAU takes on Western Kentucky, a noon kickoff at FAU Stadium. I'm the king of podcasts, or I go by George. My brother Andy's with me. He was on Twitter at FAU Wise Guys, and we're back once again. That bye week was really long. I'm
really,
just saying it was.
really long. I mean, it's only Tuesday. Jeez, we still got a whole freaking 4 days, 5 days to go. It's a long time, man. We're
Well, but remember,
dragging
it's just a matter
along.
of. I no. It's just because it's you see, but if you're a Buccaneers fan in the NFL like I am, when you see a Shula game like you saw, week and a half back, and then you say to yourself, look at what the Bucks did with the Ravens this weekend. Well, it just felt like the same thing. Not even so much because that's just like that was one team overpowering the other. The FAU game was still another matter of shooting yourself in the foot and just making some mental mistakes. And I don't know if that's something you fix during the time you've been away doing practice and spending extra time at practice. If you're out there playing like you played yourself, Andy, when you have to go and spend this much time sitting on a loss, what are you thinking? What do you think the players are thinking?
And they are ready to get back out on the field. I guarantee it. They, I mean, that's even after a win. I mean, you're just ready to play again. So only injured players really like the bye week, where they could say to themselves, "Listen, I got some time to heal up." But I think most players are ready to get back out on the field.
This is a team that's given us some trouble, even when they were a Sun Belt team. It's just this is never a pushover team. It's always been close, and we've had some games that have come to the wire that it could come down to the last play.
Except for the home
And
opener, didn't come down to the wire.
yeah,
Yeah, just sort of the home opener. I mean, as far as the stadium opener, not
right.
not down to the wire. So
Yeah, I guess the other thing you got to ask yourself is, what kind of a crowd are you going to get for a 12 o'clock kickoff? I mean, it's a good matchup. If you're an FAU fan, it's a pretty good game to watch. Good conference game.
I mean, it's a time that's dictated by TV and by other things. I'm sure that if FAU would could have their way, they'd have it at a 7 o'clock game like all the other ones. So
Well, I don't know if you didn't know this, but what's happened this year is there's a new sports network that's come out that's covering, I think it's Big Sky, Conference USA, Sun Belt, and I forget another conference. They're covering all those type of schools now, and they offer a lot of Conference USA games. For the first time, if you're in the local market, you have, we don't have rabbit ears anymore. You have just a local channel. You don't have to have cable. You can watch the game now on TV from your home. So when you have that right there, and people know, oh, we can go to a bar, we can go to a restaurant, we can go ahead and watch from our couch. How many I guess how many fans are really gonna say to themselves, I gotta go out and support the team. Yeah, it's gonna be a hot day outside. Yeah, I gotta pay money for tickets, but how many people are they gonna go ahead and like turn over to say, okay, I gotta come to the game?
yeah, and the loss to FIU really hurt. That would have been a nice little run there if we would have got that win. So did we get is the air taken out of the sails? Well, we're gonna find out. I got a feeling that some of the air has been taken out of our sails, unfortunately.
Oh, exactly. I don't know. I mean, you got to ask yourself. I mean, how many students are going to be able to make it for that earlier kickoff too? It's a lot of variables there. It's just early kickoff.
Listen, when you get to bigger conferences, the schedule is less and less in your hands. So when you're not on TV, when you're not anywhere else, you can play the games whenever you want. It's no big
And
deal.
not only that, you're so used to watching on college football just on TV now. I mean, how many games that are the games you want to watch? They're all being pushed over to prime time. They're all waiting for night time. I mean, it doesn't make
That's why you got to take advantage of the fact that when they offer you a 12 o'clock game, you take it because those slots are open now. So That's how that works. It's the hierarchy of college football. So
Do you play the almost like how the Dolphins in the NFL, the Buccaneers, how it's going to be a hot game, the field's going to be hot, you're going to be like 95, 100 degrees down on the field.
I mean, it
You know,
gets pretty hot. It gets pretty hot in Kentucky. But I mean, they haven't been in that kind of weather in a while, so I mean, it might play to an advantage to a little bit. But I mean, it ultimately comes down to who you got on the field playing.
how pissed off would you be if you actually saw one of our players have to go out because of cramps or because they didn't hydrate?
No, it's happened. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I mean, it's inevitable in this type of heat at this late in the year. So, 12 o'clock game, you're going to have guys dehydrated and cramping. It's just going to be part of the game.
Yep.
I mean, you would think that as the Florida team, you would be a little better prepared for that, but that's not always the case, though.
Mm-hmm. So look at the notes. You know, how do you see this team getting themselves back together? Do you think is besides the fact we come back home, we've been playing good at home, so you get your spirits up a little bit when you're coming back on the field.
Yeah, I mean, the question for this week is can Charlie Partridge get this team regrouped again? I mean, he did it before when we came back from those two nasty road losses, Nebraska and Alabama. We came back and played well, albeit to a not-so-good Tulsa team, but doesn't matter. Regrouped, played well. And so, it's just going to – that's the question. Can this team regroup?
And can they just realize that this, we're coming into this game, no more losses in the conference. If you want to be able to still play for the goal, which is still attainable, it's a must-win for us. I mean, every game coming down the line in the conference is now a must-win. We just can't have any more mistakes. We've given ourselves.
Well, the thing is, it's realistic to be able to win the conference with just one loss. I don't think it's going to be realistic to be able to do it with two losses, though. But one loss, you might be able. You're in the hunt. But more than that, you won't be, though.
Now we've seen the team go, head to head, go out, road and home. They've had a pretty balanced schedule. Why is it? When you look at it, I mean, just the play. Take away maybe the first two road games, but why is it we're seeing a couple of road games where the team can try to produce some things, maybe make some things work out, but why is it they are having trouble when it's not at FAU Stadium? Why is it they can't?
It's focus. It's focus. You have to focus more on the road. You are outside of your element. You are not in your – and it's just focus. I don't think it's necessarily a coaching problem. I think it's just players that we've never really been a great road team. So, it is what it is. It's something that, we need to work on, something that, that prodding along into the future, it's something that has to get better for us to become one of those, eventually the goal at FAU would be to become a bracket buster type team. I mean, that's the way down future goal, is to be one of those teams that, at the preseason, people were looking at your schedule going, man, you can run away with that schedule if you could take a couple of those big wins at the beginning of the year. And if, that would be my ultimate goal, is to say, listen, we want to try to make a run at an undefeated season or a one-loss season and be able to, a one-loss season for FAU won't get them into any kind of bracket busting, but an undefeated season at FAU would constitute bracket busting, because I think that our schedule, if we keep playing the teams that we're playing, like next year, we start off with Miami, games like that will get you started early, and if you stay undefeated, you can be in the conversation at the end. It won't guarantee you getting into the 4-team, or somewhere maybe down the road they expand that to 6 teams or 8 teams. Then, do you say to yourself, if we have a great run and a great year, can we make it to, can we make it to those brackets?
It's really great thinking. It's something that it's something that can maybe, if everything aligns into place, that's something that we gotta hope we can put all the pieces together.
I know,
that's something that the coach can do.
But every strong building starts with a good foundation, and right now we have a decent foundation. We got the stadium, we got the team. We have passed those really early infancy stages. Now we're not at the walking stage anymore. We're at the running stage. Now we're in Division I football. We're in I think, a pretty decent conference. Definitely a conference at the level of play that we're at. We're not in a conference that's too hard for us, and we're not in a conference that's too easy for us. We're right there where we need to be. And then you just eventually need to work yourself and grow yourself whether it's growing with the conference because the conference gets better, or growing yourself out of the conference. One of the two.
I mean, we've seen a little bit of growth and progression, and just a maturing of this team, and being able to do more. And we had a little bump in the road in the last coaching stance, but this is we're in the same boat
little,
as we were.
No pun intended. A little bump in the road. Just saying.
By the way, Western. Oh, go ahead, man.
No, go ahead.
Oh, so Western Kentucky, just to break it down, and you want to talk about a team that kind of they're very hungry for a win themselves. They haven't won the conference this year. They've lost all but one of the road games. They've struggled, and they had close ball games and they lost. They had Middle Tennessee and 3 overtimes. They played long games. It's just like they've struggled. They're the same record as us almost. It's like they're as hungry as we are to come in, and they're struggling on the road as well. They're going to be angry.
Well, they're struggling, but they don't struggle to score. They score a lot of points. The only good thing about them is that they allow a lot of points. So this is going to be it should be a pretty fun game to watch. Should be a lot of scoring, lots of touchdowns. I mean, but the good thing is that I think we have a much better defense than they do. Can our defense hang in there? I mean, they've smoked a couple of decent defenses this year. So it's going to be tough for us to get in a shootout with them and have our defense not play well. It'll be tough to be able to keep up with them. Our defense really needs to get some stops, really needs to slow them down, but their offense is clicking. I mean, the difference is that, that Jeff Brom took over. And, he was the offensive coordinator, so their offense didn't skip a beat. And if anything, it got much better this year, so they are cooking.
Let me just put it like this. The quarterback, how many touchdowns do you think he has so far? 5 games.
5 games? Their quarterback? Oh, he's got to have 15 touchdowns.
16.
Yeah, I mean, he's on fire. They've had a 50-point game, a 40-point game. I mean, they haven't scored less than 34 points all year. That's a lot of fruit. That's a lot of points.
And we've only done that twice this year.
I mean, they're ninth in the nation and scoring 9th in the nation. So we got our work cut out for us as far as our offense being able to keep up with them in the scoring department. Because listen, we can hope for a shutout. We can say that we're not going to get a shutout. For them. Odds are there won't be a shutout, and odds are we're not going to keep them under 14, 16, 17 points. I mean, they're going to score in the 20s. That's way below what they have scored 80 all year long. So if our defense manages to keep them in the 20s, that's a good job by them. And for our offense to score and get it to the high 30s, that would be, what we've been looking for.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's going to be a tough ball game. So
tough ball game, but it should be fun to watch.
That's enough to tell you, all the respect to, Channel 15 is going to show the game. Come to the stadium. Like, look, you already.
Yeah, just put Channel 15 to DVR so you can watch it later.
That's what you do. See, look, who watches anything like as it happens anymore? Everybody DVRs now, man. Yeah. Everybody's got a hopper or a whatever, something like that. That's
a hopper.
Hopper. Yeah. Yeah. So you know what? And that's and then what happens? That's what you always tell me to do. Go DVR.
Yeah. No. I mean, hey, listen. The key to it is it's going to be a hot day. It's going to be a lot of offense. We just hope that it's not our offense that runs out of gas before there's the no pun intended.
Oh yeah. I didn't know this week for the first time I ever actually learned what it's like to run out of gas on the middle of the road.
AAA, come on.
AAA is a very good investment. A very good investment, and I've had it for 5 years. I've used it for something every year. Knock on wood.
Hey, all right.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So there you go. Western Kentucky, 12 o'clock game. Come join us. And come by and say hi. We're sitting up there on the home section. We might not have a whole lot of people sitting around us, but no. And remember, cold beer. A lot of cold beer in the stands. Remember, they're going to be serving that fresh out there. You'll have that.
And if you sit in the sections where we're at, we get the shade first.
So. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
get shade first. Oh yeah, shade first before anybody else in the stadium. We get the shade first.
And then ask yourself, what other games are there to watch in the meantime? Like, come on, come watch the game live, the real thing. And then, you're going to want to watch Florida State Notre Dame. That's at 8 o'clock. It's so late in the day. You can do
Right.
whatever you want. So come
Right.
early and watch the FAU game. Seriously.
Definitely.
All right. So a couple games from last week in college football that were, like, fantastic. Like, let me tell you. You mentioned.
Do a little segment that we're going to call college football flyby. Owls fly, so flyby. So figured we started.
Arizona,
Just to get the whole get the whole college world, look.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know if I told you, but my coworker Frank, he went to the University of Arizona, big fan. Like, but tell me all about it. Rich Rodriguez, like, look at the program, and everybody falling apart. Every team falling from the rankings, just free falling. Arizona, number 10 coming into USC, and then all of a sudden,
man, let me tell you, and that was at Arizona, right?
I'm sorry, yes, Arizona, right? But USC comes to town, and then.
I mean, I watched that. I was watching that game live. Wow. I was watching on the Watch ESPN app, but I mean, you figure, Arizona, down by 8. I think it was a fumble. They get the ball back, drive downfield, go score the touchdown. They go for 2, don't make it. So now they're down 2. They got no choice. There's hardly any time left on the clock, so they kick the onside kick. Perfect onside. I mean, 2 bounces and a super high bounce, and it's a perfect grab. They go downfield, get in pretty decent field goal range, and a Shankarama, like you wouldn't believe. I mean, just unbelievable. Rich Rodriguez, you could feel his pain through the TV. I was like, wow. That was a rough loss.
I mean, the only thing what could have been worse was the NFL game with the Browns and who was it that played? And the Panthers. Wasn't that the game? No, I forgot. No, it was Bengals and Panthers. And Mike Nugent missing that kick for the tie, making a tie instead of a win.
There was a lot of, the Dolphins and Green Bay, same thing. Yeah. Oh.
Right. It just bad field goals just all around in football last week. But just get back to college now. Mississippi, boy, you guys are happy. What is it? Mississippi State's number 1, Ole Miss number 3. Mississippi State bounces Florida State from the top of the polls.
I mean, let me tell you something, though. The Rebels, baby. I love it. Admiral Akbar. That's I love it, man. Love that commercial. Love that whole story about all that. Oh yeah, that's great. It's hilarious stuff.
Yeah. Now, is it Bobby Petrino coaching down there? Is that who it is, or no? He's not there. I forget who he is. I forget who's coaching down, but I'm just saying, just the way that thing's gone, and just it's nice to see when all these teams start falling apart. And you start seeing some good teams that finally get a chance to have that run. Like you said, maybe FAU one day will get that kind of run, like a Mississippi State or an Ole Miss.
Well, we're not in that kind of conference to do that. But I mean, we could be we could aspire to be kind of like the East Carolina, or I've even heard Marshall's name, but I mean they're not in the running. I mean, I think that something like that would happen to us if one day down the line, which I firmly believe they will, only because it's more money, is when they find out that this 14 playoff works, they're going to want 6 and 8 teams. I mean, they're just going to get greedy. They're going to see that all these games are going to make money. They're just going to be like NFL playoff games. People are just going to watch. A lot of times people want to see big games, but trust me, people love playoff games.
Agreed. The thing is that those last 3 weeks, when you're waiting for the championship game up to the actual bowl games, waiting for that championship, I mean, honestly, we look at what they have to consume it with. Like, first of all, we're waiting for Shriners or Army, Navy, and all this stuff. Like, we want to see playoff games leading up all the way, and we can make those 3 weeks happen so that, maybe teams are going to have to play 14 games, but when it comes down to it, the money, the revenue is going to be made for it, and the popular college football in general, if you could get to 16 teams or even 8, like if that can happen,
Yeah, but it's probably not going to grow past 8. But 8 would probably be the number. That would be maybe someday.
I mean, and look at the impact that you would have, the magnitude of just you have what 4 games, and then you get yourself, and then of course you're already milking we're already halfway to February to get the national championship played, right? So, I mean,
Yeah, but
you're already doing it.
Yeah, I mean, and it'll incorporate some kind of conference championship kind of tie-in. I mean, who knows?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's good to at least see that we're going to not have to worry or rely on rankings, and once we get there. Now, one last thing we got to bring up, instead of looking at polling and national championships, Gurley for Georgia. Like, what did you wrote here?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think he probably played his last game at Georgia, which is unfortunate. I mean, now even there, Jameis Winston, they're talking about he got paid for autographs. I mean, I'm sure all these guys get paid at some point. It's a fact of life. I mean, Todd Gurley's going to be one of the top picks next year, so he's not really worried about it.
Look, and I haven't brought this up, but I've heard different on the radio and television. There's been talk about at some point down the line, with all the money these schools make, especially these high-end schools, and even a school like an FAU, at some point they're going to have to start giving stipends to the players and start offering the fact that these kids are at the same stardom as coming up.
Yeah, it's going to be a discussion to have another day. I mean, that's a huge discussion, but I'm sure it'll come up someday.
I mean, how many more things like these little stories like this have to keep coming up before people say
they happen? They happen every year, all the time, all over the nation. So when they feel like getting serious about it, they get serious about it.
Yeah, and they haven't yet. I mean, it took this long, like you said, just to get to a playoff system. Then imagine how long it would take to tell
the NCAA moves very slow. Like it's like
the government. I'm sorry.
It's like maple syrup from a tree in the middle of the winter. It just doesn't come out that fast. They just don't move that quick.
Oh boy, yeah. Okay, well, like I said, noon kickoff, Western Kentucky. We're going to be there. We hope you will too. And again, follow us on Twitter. I'm at King of Podcasts. Andy handles the Twitter account for FAU Wise Guys. We got a show on YouTube each and every Tuesday throughout the season. We didn't miss for a bye week. We don't do that. We don't cut corners. We don't take weeks off. We're here to play. We're here to perform and entertain you. Whoever's out there listening to us or watching us anyway. So I say listen because maybe you're not looking at us right away, but you're listening in the background. Who knows? But thanks everybody for tuning in, and go Owls. Hope to see you at the stadium.
Wear some sunscreen.
Oh, get a towel. Whatever you got to do. But stay cool and root for the Owls this Saturday. See you there.
See you there.